It's been another whirlwind week in AI, in new launches and new news. And, Google shared their numbers yesterday, and the numbers were just bonkers.
So why don't we jump into the tool of the week, which is the Mate tool.
I believe I built it with Cursor and Supabase.
Built this week, breaking it down. Built this week, we show you how. A fresh idea, a clever tweak. You locked in, you built this week.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Built This Week, the podcast where we show what we're building, how we're building it, and what it means for the world of AI and startups. I'm Sam Nadler, the co-founder of Ryz Labs, and I'm joined by my business partner, my co-host, and my friend, Jordan Metzner. How you doing today, Jordan?
Hey, Sam. How's it going? Glad to be back here for episode 5. Things are getting more and more exciting each week.
Exactly. So, as always, we're going to cover a tool we built and are using internally. This one is more of just a fun tool and a culture tool, and I'm really excited to talk about it. It's called Mate. And then finally, as always, we're going to talk about the latest AI news. Anything top of mind before we jump into the Ryz Labs tool of the week?
It's been another whirlwind week in AI, in new launches and new news, and it's just been nonstop movement inside the AI space. And here we are in the middle of summer, and it doesn't seem like things are slowing down, if not just heating up more and more week after week.
Yeah, exciting space. So why don't we jump into the tool of the week, which is the Mate tool. Why did we build it? How was it built? And how do we use it?
Yeah, so at first we should maybe tell people who may not know, but mate is a Argentinian tea drink that is drinking very commonly in Argentina and Uruguay, even in Brazil and some other countries as well. And it's usually shared amongst friends. And so that was one of the reasons why we named the app Mate. But mate, spelled in English, is mate, which is Australian for friend. So that's why the app is called as such. But we should give some background on why we built the Mate app and what it's used for. So, Ryz Labs has a lot of folks that work for us, and most people are remote and don't get to see each other every day. And so, as someone who worked at Amazon, they had a pretty robust phone tool that they used to call it at Amazon. And it was a way for you to see, who else was on your team, who was your managers, who was your manager's manager. Got all the way up, to Jeff Bezos and then back down again. So you could kind of see, how many levels you were away from Jeff Bezos, for example. But not only that, it allowed for a lot of other cultural things. Like it allowed for people to join communities. It allowed for interests. It allowed for badging and a bunch of other features. And I realized that it actually became a very important tool inside the company and in creating company culture. And so I'd always for a long time wanted to build a Mate type or phone book type app for our company. But, at first maybe we were too small. And then once we got to some size, maybe it just wasn't the top priority or efforts. But, with the development of AI, it just allowed me to develop software so much faster and quicker that I built this entire app, I think, like over a few day period of a weekend or something like that. And I think this is something that like many companies can do. It's not excessively challenging. It's not an app that's overly complicated. I believe I built it with Cursor and Supabase, and it's something that most companies can do. It could be a product that we could even sell, but I think as we move more and more into the kind of AI age, this is something that companies could easily build for themselves or entrepreneurs, etc. But before I jump into it, why do you think it's important to have a company phone book?
For me, in our use case, we think culture is important. We also have a fully remote team. So we're constantly looking for ways to create, moments of connection, to create things to bond over. And that can be really limiting in the remote environment. Similarly, in a previous work experience, we had something similar. It wasn't called Phone Directory. It was called the Family Tree. And it was one of the tools I used most to learn more about my teammates or people I came across in meetings. And Mate, in many ways, does something similar. It allows you to, share some pictures about yourself. It shows when you started, so your tenure. It shows potentially different interests. So maybe there's an opportunity to bond about your favorite football team or music group. It's just another way to try and keep teammates engaged, share some of their unique personality, be individuals, and learn a little bit about each other.
Okay, cool. So let's jump right into it. I think it's going to start with my profile page here. So maybe you want to walk through maybe a little bit of the profile, and then I can kind of walk through some of the other features.
Yeah. So when you open Mate, it directly opens up with your individual profile. So we're here seeing Jordan here with his lovely profile pic. We do have some badges. These badges are the offsites we've conducted as Ryz Labs. So there's been several. I believe there's been more than 3, but you're on the 3, I guess, latest offsites. You can see your interests here, and other teammates can join those interests. So I'm not sure how many teammates are on many of these, but there's Bitcoin. So there looks like there's 3 team members who are interested in Bitcoin, yoga, surfing. Wow, more in surfing than I would have expected. And then if you go down, we also created the clubs. Here we go. What is that?
That was surfing. I think
Snowboard.
Maybe guitar.
Surfing.
But yeah,
Guitar.
I guess some of these are not overly populated, but maybe we should work on getting them more engagement. But yeah,
but
the interests
4 on
are
running, and and then I think I have one that if you can go to me, I think I joined. Wow, that's the dog one. So there's a lot of people there. For Boca Juniors, which is a famous soccer team, I think there's quite a people who have joined that interest as well. This is my profile, so you can see the different interests I have. And if you go down to the very bottom, I've shared a few pictures, my 2 daughters and my puppy. So, again, it's not, revolutionary what we're doing here, but it is an easy tool that I think really anyone can create. And I'm sure you don't have to be very technical to get this live for your own organization. And, I would say this has been live for us for a couple months, and, people use it all the time. As you can see, people are joining different interests. It's something, especially for new teammates, something for them to familiarize themselves with different members of the team, just kind of our own kind of cultural ethos, etc.
Yeah. So, I think, especially it's probably especially helpful for people who are just starting out at the organization, who don't know many people. So it's a way for them to kind of bond with other workmates and find similar interest workmates. And, we found it to be, a pretty special tool. There's some of my dogs right there. My wife there. And, we found it as a pretty special tool to share with other people. Here you can go through and you can see we have, badges and interests, all types of interests, clubs, and even teams as well of some of our clients here. So what this does is just let people, essentially meet other people they work with and find common likes and interests. And I think over time, we'll probably spend more and more on making it a better and better experience for our workers. And I think, having a phone book or family tree, or as you call it, I think is an awesome tool. Let's see what else other features we've got. I know we've got search. Let's see, Sam Nadler. So there we go. So I can find you or anybody else who works with us. That's just a little bit about how the Mate app works. Curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I would just, to wrap it up here, how'd you build this?
Yeah, so I think I built the first version of this using Bolt.new, which is an application that allows you to build front ends. I used Bolt to essentially scaffold out the beginning of the applications and, lay out the left-hand sidebar, etc. We did build this app quite a while ago, so it probably deserves kind of a fresh can of paint or some updates, etc. But for the most part, we used Bolt to build it originally, and then used Cursor with Supabase, and then everything stored inside of Supabase as the database of record. So pretty easy to integrate. I think Bolt integrates with Supabase directly, and then you can kind of take the application out of there and finish it up in Cursor. So everything's stored in our Supabase database. Like I said, we've got search and a bunch of other little small features that are all part of the Supabase ecosystem that we're taking advantage of, including authentication as well. So that's a little bit about how I built it.
Cool. Well, it's been a great tool for us. I know our team likes it. The reason I like presenting Mate is, again, I think it's a tool that any leader, technical or non-technical, can probably spin up in a weekend and have a fun kind of cultural tool for their team to enjoy.
Yeah, totally. Especially as you learn more about other people, I think the first thing you see is you start to see people's dogs photos and cat photos, and start to learn about your workmates a little bit more than you do on a daily basis.
Built This Week is recorded online. Important parts of the episode were lost due to Starlink connection going down.
All right, let's go to the last story of the day.
So this kind of goes back to, let me close some of these, but, Google shared their numbers yesterday and the numbers were just bonkers. I think Google announced your Gemini has over 450 monthly active users, and growing. So, I think OpenAI is still the leader in the space, but I think what this just shows is that one, Google is catching up, and two, there's just a massive demand for consumers to leverage AI models and to use them on a daily basis. It says here over 50 million people are using AI-powered meeting notes inside of Google Meet. I mean, that's just a crazy number of users converted over to leveraging AI for their meetings. So it just shows the power of Google's network, how many users they have, and, once they put AI in front of users, how fast it gets adopted. But, what do you think about all this and, Google's growth over the last few months, especially as a company that was, pretty much in last place, I would say, from their ability to have a successful LLM model in the space to, now being in this, number 2 or 3 spot right now, it seems like.
I think it just shows the power of Google. We talked about a tool on our first episode called Granola that, creates a seamless tool for recording meeting minutes. And now Google, layered it into Google Meets, and 50 million people are using it. And, both you and I are pretty AI forward. Maybe I have once, but I don't even think I've used it yet. So, that's a crazy amount of people, and it's pretty seamless experience. Google has, to some degree, probably more opportunity to position AI in front of users, compared to OpenAI, which I think is going to help Google catch up faster, whether it's within Google Docs, within Gmail, within search, AI is, at the fingertips of all those use cases. Whereas, OpenAI, I think users may have to be more intentional. So I think that's going to help close the gap.
Yeah, I think that's one point for how impactful, a company like Facebook can be in this space, because, you look at Meta, who is now, probably in one of the last place positions, obviously is spending heavily on AI. And they just have so many eyeballs on their products that once they, start to integrate AI into their tools, we'll see, a huge amount of adoption like we're seeing here at Google. And I think, if Google continues to power through by providing high quality AI services and tools to users and continues to put them, integrated into their applications, I think we're going to continue to see a lot of adoption.
All right, Jordan, thanks. Another great episode of Built This Week, covering our internal cultural tool called Mate, and then some hot AI news. Anything before we wrap up?
I just think it's awesome. Episode 5, like I said, middle of summer, and AI is only heating up more and more. I think, as we go into the fall, things are going to get even crazier. It shows kind of this type of stuff we're seeing from major players like Google's and Oracle's and the Facebooks of the world, and even OpenAI and their big funding announcements this week as well. So I think, we're going to continue to see a lot of movement in the space, continue to see a lot of chip purchasing and kind of increasing chip stacks across the board, and seems like the battle for who's the number one AI company, continues.
Thanks, everyone. Next week, we'll have another episode of Built This Week. Like and subscribe and listen to us on all your favorite places where you listen to podcasts. Have a great week.
Built This Week, breaking it down. Built This Week, we show you how. A fresh idea, a clever tweak. You locked in, you built this week.